Hello everyone, welcome to today's demo. My name is Astashkina and I'm going to teach you how to make wafer paper eucalyptus. And now you can see my template. So you can download this template for free on my website. So to transfer my template to my wafer paper, there are a lot of different methods, and even if you have edible printer, you can print this template directly on your wafer paper and cut it that way. Usually what I do, I use my Dresden tool. I place my wafer paper on top of my template and just go around like this and make indentations. I hope you can see this. So that's the easiest way, because then I'm not going to have any marks. But if you want to see and make indentations brighter, you can use a regular pencil or you can use edible marker. But make sure that your marker is light. So usually if I do something like this, or for the greenery, I would use maybe light green food marker, or even yellow or ivory, so it's not so bright, it's not like bold and dark like this one. And I'm going to cut these leaves, and I need 2 of each size. And usually when I'm working with the wafer paper, this premium wafer paper, it's a little bit thicker than the regular one. I stack it in 2 or 3 layers, no more than that. And using a very sharp scissors, I'm cutting around and making my leaves, and I cut them in pairs because I need 2 of each, and because it's just easier and saves time. And remember, these templates, this is just a guide. You don't need to be precise. You can use punch, like craft punch like this, and make your circles, cut it out, or you can just freehand it, and nothing special about that. So to do our next step, I'm going to use these pieces, tiny pieces, all of my cutouts. So when you're cutting out your leaves, never throw away these small parts of wafer paper, and I just put them in a bag. So these are my garbage pieces of wafer paper, and I use them to make wafer glue. And to make wafer glue, I use just a glass tiny shot, because wafer glue is concentrated and you don't need much. So I'm going to take a few of my cutouts. This is just garbage pieces. You can use your scissors to cut it in smaller pieces, or you can put it in a food processor and you can prepare it that way. You just need to make it and cut it in smaller pieces, something like this. And this amount of pieces and wafer paper will be enough for you to make wafer paper for the whole wafer paper glue for the whole project. And then next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add regular water. This is distilled water, just because that's what I prefer. I work with wafer paper a lot, and in my experience, using distilled water or even boiled, cooled down water, it stays fresh longer than just regular tap water, but maybe because I live in Illinois. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit water on top to submerge my wafer paper, and I leave it, and I put it on the side, and I leave it like this for maybe at least 2 hours. And after that, what you will get is this gel-like mixture. So you can see it's relatively thin, but it's still liquid. So it is like it's similar in texture to bloom gelatin. So when you're blooming your gelatin, it's similar in texture, but wafer glue is much better to use than just regular edible glue or water, because it won't melt your wafer paper same way as water will do. So that's why I prefer to use wafer glue. So next step, I'm going to take a few pieces of wire, floral wire. This is 30 gauge floral wire, and I cut it in 6 parts because I don't need much. And when working with wafer paper, go with the highest gauge of floral wire you can get, because wafer paper is relatively thin and light. You do need to use something like 24 or 26, because it will be too thick and it will be visible on your wafer paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 leaves, and remember, wafer paper has 2 sides. One is bumpy side and another side is smooth. So I'm going to put it smooth side up to both of this, and I'm going to take a small brush. This is my wafer glue brush, and I'm going to take just the tiniest amount of glue on my brush and paint it on my petal, on my leaf. So you can see that I have wafer glue only about halfway up and just a little bit. And I will let it sit for maybe a few seconds, and I'll do the same for my next leaf. And I'm working on a shiny side, because shiny side will be my back side, and my rough side, bumpy side will be my face side for my leaves. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my 30 gauge wire on top of my wafer paper leaf. And you can see it's already stuck. If you leave it to sit for maybe a few seconds, wafer glue will melt wafer paper just enough for wire to stick. And this is paper covered wire. You cannot do this trick with regular wire or uncovered wire. This only works with paper covered wire. And this is 30 gauge, so this is going to be my front side. You can barely see the wire, and this is going to be my back side, where you can see it, but I won't care much, because then we're going to color it and apply all the textures and everything. So again, I'm just sticking my wire on top of my leaf. So next thing we are going to do is we are going to mix our wafer paper conditioner. For that, I'm using today as airbrush color. This is Americolor airbrush in color avocado, but you can use any green gel color or any airbrush color. I just have it on hand, and I found that this is the color I like for my flowers. And next ingredient I'm going to add for my wafer conditioner is food grade glycerin. And you can buy food grade glycerin anywhere where you buy fondant and everything, because this actually used to condition your fondant and make it softer and stay fresh longer. So that's not something, it's not a rocket science, it's easily accessible everywhere. And I'm going to add just few drops, because today my environment is very humid, and this glycerin helps wafer paper to stay moist and soft for longer compared to just using water or alcohol. I didn't like to use alcohol with wafer paper because it evaporates so fast, and it makes wafer paper crunchy and brittle much faster than just using glycerin and water. And this is just distilled water, and I'm going to add a tiny bit, few drops to dilute my mixture, because I want this mixture to be certain color and consistency to condition my leaves. and let me see if I like the color. It's a little bit too green for me for this application, so I'm going to add a little bit of this blue gel color. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this blue gel color and add it to my mixture, because I want my eucalyptus leaf to be a little bit more have like a blue hue compared to just being dark green. Let me mix it again, and now it's not so green and not so bright, but I still wanted to add just a touch of water to dilute it and to make it lighter. And this is going to be my conditioner. Next thing what I'm going to use is a little bit of cornstarch, maybe not a little bit, maybe a lot. I'm going to use my favorite tool is my fluffy brush, and here's my Peony. This is a silicone Peony veneer, my brush, cornstarch, conditioner, and my brush for the conditioner. So what I'm going to do next to add texture to my leaves is I'm going to take my leaf, the large one. Let's start with the large one, and shiny side up, because I need to color it on both sides, so I'm going to start from my back side. I'm checking my brush and on my board because I don't want to have a lot of moisture, so I want my brush to be just damp and moist but not soaking wet. And I'm going to paint, so I'm holding my petal and I'm painting my conditioner on the back side of my leaf. And I'll set it aside for a second. I'll take the second one. Again, I'm working on my back side, so I'm working on the shiny side of wafer paper. And I already applied this and glued these wires and let it sit for overnight, but usually 10 to 15 minutes is enough. So next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my leaf and apply just a little bit of cornstarch on the back side to stop it from melting and prevent stickiness, like that. And I'm going to paint the front side, so my bumpy side. Again, I'm not having my brush, I'm having it just, it's just moist but not soaking wet. I'm lightly brushing and painting this wafer conditioner on my leaf, and applying a little bit more of the cornstarch, placing this in a veneer bumpy side up. We're in the second part, press it down and hold for 5 seconds. And now what I have is all these ridges and interesting texture, so I'll put it on the side to dry and do the same for my second leaf. I'm checking my back side. It's a little bit too sticky to my liking, so I'm applying just a touch of cornstarch to prevent stickiness, turning it upside down to my front, to my bumpy side, a little bit more of wafer conditioner, painting it on like that. So I'm trying to be light with my brush, but I still try to be precise and have all the parts of the leaf to be colored the same color and same saturation. Just a tiny bit of cornstarch before I place it in my veneer, like that. Press it down and count till 5. So as you can see, it's still, wire is still intact, so if you glue it and let it dry. Just using wafer glue, you will have this magical arrangement. And if you're working with wafer paper and you just get a hold of it and you understand how to conditioner and how to apply texture and everything, it goes very fast. So you can make this branch. If it's not your first one, you can make it in maybe 10-15 minutes. So that's amazing that you can have something that's impressive in 15 minutes to put it on a cake. So to assemble my eucalyptus, I'm going to use white floral tape, and this is regular with floral tape. I cut in half because it is easier for me to assemble these leaves because they are so delicate and thin. I don't want to bulk it up and make it so thick, my stem, so I'm going to use it just like half with floral tape. So for my top, I have 2 leaves for my top, and I'm placing them face and face together, taking my floral tape and sticking floral tape to itself like that, and pulling it down. So I'm pulling my floral tape down with one hand and my leaves up with my right hand. And I'm keeping about a 1/4 inch distance in between and applying my second row of leaves, like in the second size, on the both side again. Face side, so I wanted to see my wire, and face side sticks to the middle part. Again, down for about 1/4 inch. My third row, and as you can see, after it's colored and conditioned and textured, you can barely see any wire sticking on the back side of the leaf. My fourth row on both sides. And if you know that you're going to insert this in a cake and you need this wire to be longer, you can use a 20, this is 20 gauge wire, but you can use 22 or 24 gauge wire, stick it here and fix it together to make your stem longer. So I'm going to attach this wire to my leaves. Take another piece of half width floral tape, stretch it like that, glue it to itself, pull it down about a 1/2 inch in between, and add my 2 number 5 size 5 leaves on both sides like that, and my last one here on this side and on this side. So now I'm going to tape all my wires together, and we're almost ready to start the fun part. The wire is outside, so while I'm assembling my eucalyptus branch, the wire is outside, because now what we are going to do is we are going to fold these leaves down, and you can see that the wire is on the back side and our front sides are beautiful, light, and no wire is visible. And here's 2 more like that. So you can see, and you can play around and assemble in the way you wanted to do this. And I'm using white tape because I prefer to color or to dust it afterwards, because the tape, floral tape I have, is a little bit too dark to this application. And now we are going to paint and make all the fancy stuff and make it beautiful. What I have here is Global Sugar Art Hot Pink Dust. I need just a tiny brush here, just a little bit, and I'll take some Everclear or any high proof alcohol, lemon extract, even vodka will work, and I'm making pasty consistency. So I'm making my hot pink paint, and I'm going to paint on the edges of my leaves, just a little bit like that. So you can see now it's not so plain, not so boring, because in real life eucalyptus comes in different shapes, shades and colors, and even some of them might be like pink or burgundy or this hot pink edges. And it's nice because if I'm going to place it in an arrangement with yellow flowers, for example, I can color these edges using yellow dust. Or if I'm going to place it in something like blue flowers or some other shades, I can use, instead of this hot pink, I can use different dusts to make it cohesive and to make it work. Is I'm going to use bright silver dust, and this is a bright silver by Crystal Colors, bright silver pearl dust, but any light color pearl or silver will work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it on my finger like that, so you can see my finger now is covered in pearl dust, and I'm going to rub it on my leaf, so you will get this eucalyptus shine and this silvery texture on your branch like that. You can use brush for this application, but what I find, if I'm using brush, it will cover the whole leaf and not just raised parts, because this is my highlight for this branch, and I didn't want the whole leaf to be silver. I just wanted to add some shine but not cover it in silver. So that's why I'm using my finger. And if you watched any of my other tutorials, I like painting with my fingers, so that's the easiest way to apply color and highlights only to the raised parts. So now you have it. This is our eucalyptus branch, and for the stem you can go with petal dust, any green petal dust that suits your design, or you can use gel color, even this our conditioner, the remainder of our wafer conditioner, and you can paint your stem like that. So now it is still green, but it's not dark green as the same as if I would use green floral tape. So here you have it. And nice thing about eucalyptus, it can work in any flower arrangement, and you can make it in any color you want and any shade you want. And if your flowers are uh, not this green. You can make it in teal, you can make it in pink, and eucalyptus is very versatile and beautiful and easy flower to add to your collection. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you stick around. If you have any requests and you want something else for me to show you, like any other foliage or wafer paper flowers, please follow me on Facebook or Instagram as Astashkina Cakes. Message me. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful day. I'm Astashkina. Bye bye.